Welcome to another episode of Think Out Loud. Today we have another special guest. She is a feisty one and she loves to roll her sleeves up and jump headfirst into a LinkedIn ad campaign. She is paid media specialist at Digital Clarity, Alice Stapleton. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hello there. So we're recording this remotely, which is like a whole new thing to me. So hopefully it all goes smoothly. Now, just to introduce yourself to everyone listening, we've known each other now for several years, but for the listeners, I thought it would be good to do a quick fire round on who is Alice. How's that sound?
Yeah, great.
Okay, so let's start off with something which is very close to your heart, food.
Yes.
It is indeed. So, what is your favourite sandwich filling?
Oh, it's got to be coronation chicken. Now, some people I find don't know what coronation chicken is, but it's basically chicken, mayonnaise with some curry powder in, and sultanas. And it was actually created for the Queen's coronation.
Wow, that is an interesting takeaway fact there, Alice.
Who
And do you
knew from a
salad?
sandwich filling you could gather so much information?
Exactly. I guess it'd be lined up alongside the cucumber sandwiches with the crust cut off. Apparently, that's what the Queen likes.
Oh, well, that's not quite as exciting as chicken and curry paste.
Definitely not. I don't even like cucumber, so not one for me. And so would you have salad with this sandwich, or is it just a standalone coronation chicken?
I think it's nicest with brown or granary bread, a few lettuce leaves, maybe tomatoes, but
Thinly sliced.
yeah.
Sounds good. I'm up there with that. I think I'd put that in my top 3.
Oh, wow. I feel honoured.
Good choice. Okay, so next question. Let's see if we can put you on the awkward spot now. What is the silliest comment you've ever made in the office?
Well, I think maybe you'd be better at answering that one. I'm sure there's many. Go on, tell me.
There are a few that come to mind, but I think the sidekick one
Yeah.
the most. Do you want to explain that to the listeners?
Yeah, so I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues, and I think I ended up predicting something that was going to happen. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I was thinking the other day that I'm sidekick, and now I really think I am because this has happened." And my colleague said, "What? What sidekick?" I went, when you're sidekick. And she went, "Do you mean psychic, as in PSY?" however you spell it. And I was like, oh my God, I had that dawning realization of my whole life. I thought it was sidekick.
Love it. It's definitely a classic for me, that comment. There's plenty others, I'm sure, that have come up in conversation. But it's one of the fun things in the office when people are kind of, they trip over their words, or there's things that they suddenly realize have a completely different meaning or misunderstanding. So thank you for sharing that. Hopefully it wasn't too embarrassing. And then finally, we'll switch it around a little bit. What's your favourite animal, Alice?
Ooh, this is a hard one, actually. I've always said I love whales. I just think they're so majestic and calm. But equally, I do love a few birds.
Oh, okay. So tagging on the back of that, if you had a pet one, what would you call it? And you can choose whale or a bird.
A pet whale, that might be a bit difficult, but I think I'd probably call it something a bit simple, like Brian. That might get a few laughs. Yeah.
I like him. When do we get to see him and meet Brian the whale?
I think we might have to fly over to some sort of exotic location for that.
Deal.
Yeah, sounds
Let's wait
lovely.
until we're allowed to leave the country, and let's go and do that. Name Ryan in the ocean somewhere exotic. Brilliant. Thank you for that, Alice. Hopefully it gives a little taste of your personality to the listeners, and thanks for humouring me. So let's get down to business a little bit. So you've been working in digital marketing now for a few years. What is it that made you jump into digital marketing?
Well, I think I knew for quite a few years that I wanted to go into marketing. When I was doing my A levels and my studies at university. But it was only really at university that I realised that digital marketing was even a job. I don't think I'd fully really thought about it before. But there were different like careers events at university, and a few workshops and things like that I got involved in to do with digital marketing specifically. And so I just kind of took that and ran with that.
Okay, and was it the sort of variety, what is it that you like so much? What is it that drew you to that as a career path?
I think it was mainly the fact that there's always something to learn. Like, I know you were saying, Rachel, the other day that there was stuff that, you were doing for the first time and learning, and I have that every single day. There's still stuff that I'm finding out about certain areas, or little tidbits or best practices that I'm finding out about. So I think I really like the fact that you could be doing it for years and still be learning and still be getting excited at new things in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the nature of digital, isn't it? Because everything is changing so quickly. So even if you take a platform like LinkedIn, a year ago, it was probably, it was lacking in regards to some of the functionality of how to run ads, maybe some of the reporting, and even in a year, a lot of things can change in regards to the data that you can access, the formats of the ads, and all those types of things. And so you're continuously having to keep on top of those so that you can deliver your clients and anyone that you're working with a good service by being up to date, well, as up to date as you can be with all of the different channels and all of the different functions within those as well, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very consumer driven. You've got to be keeping up with the trends, and constantly analysing the data as well to see what people are engaging with and what people are resonating with.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks for that. So the next question would be, what do you think is the hardest thing about your role within a digital marketing agency?
Ooh, good question. Lots of things. I guess actually the hardest thing would be keeping up with the changing sort of landscape, and things do change really quickly. Consumer trends change so quickly. I mean, things like TikTok, you see a video go viral or take off, or a trend take off, and then a week or so later it's not relevant anymore, and you're left thinking, oh, does anyone remember when we were all dancing to The Weekend back in lockdown, kind of thing. So I think everything changes so quickly. So I think it is hard to keep up with it because you have to constantly be on the ball with things. But
yeah, I think that's true. And I think one of the previous podcasts which I did was about sometimes feeling a pressure within an agency that the clients are going to catch you out on a question. So maybe you feel a bit self-conscious, or you're not confident in your answers. And I think that's one of the things that I would say is a real challenge. So you're trying to learn all these different things, and clients are expecting you to know the answers to anything. They could throw you a curveball. They could ask you what the best formats are on TikTok, or they could ask you what they should be doing on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And you kind of need to have confidence in yourself. And the only way to do that is to have the knowledge behind you, right? So having looked into all of those channels, and it's nearly an impossible task to know everything about everything. So have you got any tips of maybe how you can balance that out as someone that's maybe new to digital marketing or new to an agency?
Yeah, I think it's just constantly trying to consume things, trying to learn things, and having different sources as well for that learning. So actually, like TikTok, I get a lot of videos that are just like 15 seconds or 1 minute long, but it has a really good tidbit of information about like social media marketing or something to do with digital advertising. So they're really handy that you could just be, chilling on the weekend, scrolling through TikTok, but then you get a few little tips here and there. And I
Yeah,
think like YouTube videos as well are really good for learning.
yeah, that's a great point actually, because TikTok, although it's something that you're possibly being asked by clients about, it's something that you're also using as a platform to learn, which is
Yeah,
amazing, really. And how did you live without TikTok before? I mean, it's impossible to imagine back then, right?
I know. And also I think attention span is getting shorter. So I kind of think, well, how did I watch really long videos before, whereas now I'm more conditioned to just watching like 15 seconds.
Yeah, and that's quite difficult to convey something within 15 seconds. To really nail it is quite a challenge, nearly like creating ads. You've got a very short sort of number of characters to use in order to convey a clear message, whether it be for your own business or whether it be for a client's business, and really to get that message across in such a short, concise way is sometimes quite difficult.
Yeah, and time consuming. You can spend 30 minutes creating a 15-second video.
Yeah, that is so true. The prep, though, I think is very important. If you've got a good plan and you've really got a clear path of how that's going to be delivered, that's when normally you have the most success.
Yeah.
Okay, so final question. So for anyone who is just getting into digital marketing, and I think you're a really good sort of person to ask because you've been through that process of going from university, starting your first kind of role within digital marketing. And you've done a lot of studying and sort of extracurricular before that of really bettering yourself. You've done some sort of Google exams and things before getting into your career. So for anyone that is looking to get into digital marketing, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the extracurricular activities really will stand you out from the crowd. The first place to start with that is the Google exams. So there's a platform called Skillshop, and they have so many free courses. So I think really you would be a bit silly to just ignore that and not take advantage of it, because really it's a great opportunity to have really detailed courses like are on Skillshop and not use them to your advantage. I think also getting experience is key. I know it's really hard to actually go forward and do, but I think, Rachel, you've talked about before, like just getting stuck in, and you can't just expect things to come to you and happen for you. You've got to make your own luck. So I think just trying to get any experience, whether it's a 15 minutes or half an hour conversation with a digital marketing expert, you could kind of use that to your advantage and gain a lot of tidbits from that you can then use in interviews and things like that.
I think those are some really good tips for people to take away. There's always learning that you can do yourself. And I think that for people to succeed in this industry, it comes down to that, doesn't it? It comes down to your ambition and your thirst. And I think that there's nothing stopping anyone from creating themselves as a very successful leader within this business. And that's the beauty of digital marketing, is that it's an open playing field. And I think that's one of the things that's quite nice. There's a very good balance. And I think that if you put the work in, you're going to get out of this role and this career really what you want. So I think there's some fantastic points there, Alice. It's been really good to speak to you. Hopefully the listeners have got some takeaways as well. Appreciate you jumping on the podcast this morning, this Friday morning. It's a bit
No
drizzly
worries.
and grey outside, but hopefully this will lighten up someone's day.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Good stuff. So thanks to the listeners as always. And we will be putting this out, and join us next week for another Think Out Loud.